Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Dorton and Doetkott Debate Podcast, episode 84 here of the podcast. I'm Lucas Dorton. Nick Doetkott is on the show here again. Folks, you might notice a little something different about him. He doesn't quite have the afro that we've been seeing in episodes past. He's got the new haircut. I can tell probably didn't comb it today. Maybe
No.
just got out of the shower and patted it down a little.
Yeah, I just took a nap. It's a little messy, but we'll just cover that up with my hat that now actually fits my head.
There you go. That's what's most important. That's what's most important. I just got out of the shower, so my hair isn't looking outstanding, but it gets the job done. It gets the job done. Now, folks, the man that is unfamiliar maybe to your eyes that is joining our show today is early competitor for maybe best hair we've had on the podcast so far. All the way Winona, Minnesota. Zach Zaboj. Zach, show off that lettuce you got back there. Holy cow. Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the stash. Mustache.
Nice.
Yeah, I love it. That's good. That's good. That's awesome. Well, Zach, thank you for joining the show today, man. We certainly are happy to have you on and hopefully have some good chat about Townball today.
Well, hey, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me on. I'm glad we found each other on Twitter. It's amazing what social media can do nowadays. Holy cow.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's get started. What do we want to talk about first?
Well, first, Zach, a little tradition that I like to do with our new guests that come on the show, as I like to get to know a little more about themselves and about their baseball fandom, a little bit about them. So first off, you're wearing the Minnesota shirt. I'm assuming you're a Twins fan.
Yeah, I got the old Michael Kadire shirt, actually.
Okay.
Look at that. Holy cow.
Okay.
This shirt might be, 2010 when I got this.
Former Twin and former Rocky.
Yeah.
Right. That's right.
They get around. It's weird. All my favorite players like Nick Punto, Michael Kadire. Now we got Kyle Farmer. Those guys have seemingly been everywhere, it feels like. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I also got, this might be a throw in the past. You guys familiar with Reddit?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on our baseball during the lockout, there was that guy who decided to doodle Mike Trout every day of the lockout.
Wow.
So this is just a whole bunch of different pictures of Mike Trout that the guy drew until the lockout ended.
Nice.
Yeah, you can find it on Reddit, actually, if you search for it. I'm sure it's right there.
That's cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a lot. I got to hang this up yet. I just moved into this house not too long ago, so I got to find space on my wall.
I love it.
Really show it off.
So now I got to know, Zach, who is your favorite all-time Minnesota Twin? Is it Michael Kadire? Is it someone else?
God, that's such a big question. I might have to go with Tom Bernansky.
Tom Bernansky.
Back when.
Nice.
Hey.
The mustache, the hair, just a big beefy guy out in right field for the Twins. I don't know. I spent a lot of time growing up. I had on the VHS tapes. I had like the 1987 and 1991 World Series recorded for whatever reason. So I'd watch those and I was just enthralled by Bernansky for some reason. Couldn't tell you why, but maybe that's the inspiration for the stash.
He was a solid player.
He really was. I think the Twins ended up trading him to the Red Sox at one point or something. So that was kind of a bummer, but I wasn't alive yet at the time. So
fair. Yeah. Well, I love that poll. That's a great poll. Now I would like to know, who is your favorite, maybe all-time non-Minnesota Twin player?
Oh, I mean, besides like Shohei Ohtani's got to be top of everyone's list, right? I mean, how could it not be? But Clayton Kershaw comes to mind. Just a thing for longevity is always cool. Tom Seaver comes to mind. Brooks Robinson is like the guy who created how third basemen play today, which blows my mind.
Yeah.
A lot of this also comes, I play MLB The Show, not as often as I used to, but now that they've incorporated more legends into the game, you can actually see guys at their peak from way back in the day. I'm trying to think. My significant other is a fan of the Cubs, so I've gotten familiar with the National League side of things too. and I'm trying to remember a guy on the Cubs that I thought was so cool. Not Minnie Minoso. He played for the White Sox, but I can't remember the other guy who I'm trying to think of. Shoot, he played shortstop, and I can't remember his name. Oh, that's going to bother me for the rest of the show. Darn it.
That's okay.
Yeah, lots of guys, huh?
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Oh, man, that's good. Hopefully it comes to me while we're recording. We'll see what happens.
Well, what's really going to happen is it's going to be like 3 a.m. You're going to wake up in a cold sweat, and you're like, that's the guy.
Got it.
That guy. Oh, no.
So I'll be waiting for my Twitter DMs. I'll keep the notifications on when you send that through, and I'll be like, bingo.
Sounds good. It will happen too. 3 o'clock in the morning, like you said. This dude. Oh, man. Shoot.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, that's awesome. That's cool. I that's probably one of my favorite things. You know, obviously, most people we have on the show here are from Minnesota or the area. So it's a lot of Twins players, a lot of those guys. But it is cool, you know, to kind of see where everyone maybe modeled their game after or looked up to growing up. Obviously, being from Colorado, there was never Minnesota Twins guys I was watching a whole lot because they were never playing the Rockies and all that. But, you know, huge Kadire guy, won a batting title for the Rockies. Huge Justin Morneau guy, also won a batting title for the Rockies.
Oh, my gosh. I forgot Justin. I remember Justin Morneau getting traded to the Pirates, but then after that, did he go to the Rockies after the Pirates and then the White Sox before retiring?
Correct.
Yep.
Man, that's crazy. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
They played together in the Rockies, didn't they?
I think so.
There may have been a year or two across. I can't quite remember.
I think they both won batting titles with him.
That sounds right. Hold on. I'm going to go to baseballreference.com here and we'll look them up real quick.
Old, reliable baseball reference.
Right. All right. Michael Kadire, 2001 to 2015. Oh, I got to wait for it to load. Hold on a second. You got this. You got this, internet. I know we're recording on Zoom, but we got to. You can do it. You can do it. Come on. Oh, there it is. All right. He was in Colorado 2012, 2013, 2014. Justin Morneau, 2003 to 2016. And he was in Colorado 2014, 2015. So there you go. They were in Colorado together in 2014.
Okay.
Come on, Lucas. Don't you know your Rockies?
Sorry. It all just kind of is a blur there.
Oh, yeah. Rockies legends Michael Kadire and Justin Morneau.
Yes. Retire the jerseys right now.
Well, they'd both probably be the best player on the team right now. So
yeah, they would be up there. They would be up
crazy.
there for sure. They'd be up there.
We'll give you Tovar, I guess.
Zico Tovar. Yeah.
Hey, you want to talk former Twins though? On in Townball, Corey Koski plays for the Loretto Larks.
Yes.
With his kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. Gosh, I love their Twitter. He hit a home run last year. It was a great Twitter post.
Yeah, I think they made state. I would love to play them. That would be fun.
State would be amazing. Where are we going this year? Do you guys remember?
Jordan.
Where are we at? What's that?
Jordan.
Oh my, you're kidding.
Yep, Jordan, Belle Plaine, Green Isle.
Oh, that's gonna be great. Oh, there it is. I see it. Oh, they added Shakopee too. Sorry, I'm on the website.
Yes, I did not realize that.
Must just be like one of those. Here's an extra site to go do.
Yeah,
if we have any makeup games.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be fun. Those are nice fields. Holy cow!
Yes, we will be in Jordan at 6 o'clock tonight.
Woo!
Yeah. Absolutely.
I love it.
That's awesome. Well, little memory lane there for me with my Rockies and Twins. I love it.
Yeah.
That's good. Awesome, Zach. So tell me
baseball.
A little bit about, yes. So tell me a little bit about your baseball playing career. Kind of where did that start, and what kind of look like for you from then to where we're at now?
I mean, you know, I've been playing baseball since you could walk, I suppose. T-ball at 5 or whatever, and so I grew up in Rosemount, so I never did any sort of travel ball. It was very expensive at the time. I can't even imagine how expensive youth travel ball is nowadays. Yeah. But I played high school at Rosemount. We were never very good, unfortunately. They're good now, which is great, but 10 years too late for me. But then I went to college here at Winona State, but I was never good enough to be a NCAA, much less D2.
Yeah.
But I did play club level, which is more than intramurals, but less than the D1 through 3 stuff. So it was still competitive, but we were in a league like Wisconsin-Madison had club teams since they don't have an actual college team. But we played a whole bunch of other state schools. We played a lot of Wisconsin schools like Stevens Point. But after that, it was, what do you do as an adult? So 2018, I was searching around trying to figure out what I could keep doing. And you find Townball and you realize, there's an adult league I can go to that's not beer league softball. So I messaged Lee Trzynski, our manager, because he had his phone number on the old website at the time. And that kicked off from there. So I've been playing for the Chiefs since 2018 now. And things are going pretty good, which is great. We got a new logo that we're working on. We'll probably get new jerseys, I hope, soon, because they're the annoyingly thick stuff. And it's going to be 90 degrees today. So today's game is going to be real fun.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Woo!
That's awesome. So talk to me about positions. What position do we play? What we play growing up? Is it the same now, or what does that kind of look like for you?
Nah, it's shifted a lot. With Townball, Winona's, you mentioned it earlier, Winona's way out of here. And it's a lot of times some games are very much we have 10 guys and we got to fill holes where we need to fill holes.
Yeah.
There are times where we have the luxury of position players. Typically, I'll play second base. When I was growing up, I was more of a shortstop and second base kind of guy, up the middle stuff. I was very fast growing up through high school. Not as much anymore now that I'm 30, very slow. But I still got quick enough reflexes that I can go there. But I also catch. Mostly because I don't have to run as much when I'm catching, which is great. But the downside is when I'm the only catcher there. On Friday, we had a game against Pine Island here in Winona, and I caught 12 innings. And my thighs are feeling it today. My knees are feeling it today. And hopefully I don't have to catch today.
Are you guys Class C or Class B?
We are Class C, technically. The closest Class B team would be the Rochester Royals, and even further beyond. It kind of, being so far out, all of our opponents are an hour plus away. So I hope we don't be Class B. I know there's a new class system coming for next year. But we'll have to wait and see and go from there, I guess.
So for Winona, what are some of the teams that you play against? What are some of your league teams that you guys go against each year then?
Yeah, so we play in the Twin Rivers League. It's part of Region 5C. We combine with 3 teams from the Classic Cannon Valley League, and those teams are Cannon Falls, Red Wing, and Hastings. But the teams in the Twin Rivers League, I got the map open over here. We got Owatonna, we got Pine Island, Wanamingo, Dodge County, Austin, Stewartville. Rochester has both a Class B and a Class 2 Class C teams now. They're one of 2 cities that have 3 teams. Plainview, and then ourselves. Whoa. I just knocked my calendar down. There you go. There are also, we used to play in the 90s. The Chiefs were part of the Wisconsin Baseball Association because we're so far away from everyone in Minnesota. At one point, it made more sense to go the other direction. Mm-hmm. And we played teams from La Crosse, Holman, Sparta, Viroqua. God, Toma, I think, was even on there. This was before my time. But Lee remembers all of these teams. So that's pretty cool. There's also a team in La Crescent, which is the city right across from La Crosse, Wisconsin, on the Minnesota side of the river. And they still play in the Wisconsin Baseball Association.
Yeah, I played against La Crescent in the Arlington Grays, which is like 1860s old style baseball. La Crescent had.
Whoa, yeah.
So I am familiar with La Crescent.
Nice. Old school. Real old school.
Yep, no gloves. Real weird.
That's no gloves. What, you can catch a ball on a bounce, can't you?
Yep, one bounce. But
Man,
you can
that's crazy.
You don't have to take up if they catch on a bounce. You do if they catch on the air and the fly. But if you catch it on one bounce, it is an out. Yeah, It's a lot of interesting rules.
Wow. That's so cool.
Carlos Correa just hit a 2-run home run, by the way. Cool.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go. So the next question for you, Zach, one of the things when we first kind of connected was your Townball map, the Townball map, which you first let me know about. So I am curious, maybe to the folks that aren't as familiar with maybe what I'm referencing, talk to me a little bit about that, and then kind of where the thought process behind that came, and kind of where it's at now, because that is amazing stuff that you did.
I would love to. I said earlier I was looking at the map so I could see the teams on the Twin Rivers League. So this project started, as most things nowadays, as a COVID project. In 2020, I started working on it and then finished the map in 2021 around March or April, somewhere in there. And the reason it came about was because when I joined, I didn't know about Townball when I joined the Chiefs in 2018. So I got curious about what is what and how many teams there are, and there's different leagues, and what the heck does that all mean? So with the old Minnesota Baseball Association website, they had the teams all sorted out by league. So I was able to look at that, but I don't know all the cities in Minnesota. I don't know where any of those are. And when you're traveling for games, we can't afford a bus. So we're all carpooling and trying to figure out where we're going. So the map kind of got born out of, well, now that I have time, thanks to COVID, I'm just going to find every stadium I can and put it on a map so people know where we're going. And then it evolved from there, because at the time I realized, oh God, there's almost 300 teams
there's a lot
in this association. And I tell you what, plotting it one by one was a very long, tedious thing. But it was really fun when you get to see all the different kinds of leagues and the places, the cities they play in. It's very much the classic line of there's a bar, a church, and a ball field in a lot of these places, which is absolutely crazy. But it was great. I use a website called Z Maps. At the time when I tried to do this with Google Maps, they actually didn't have enough different colored pins because I wanted to separate the teams based on the league they're in. And at the time, Google Maps didn't have the capability to have however many we needed at the time, and Z Maps did. So I've just stuck with these guys, because now, if you have the website up, if you go to zmaps.com and search Minnesota Baseball Association, it should pop up there. A lot of leagues have logos that I was able to put as their pins. So now you can immediately notice where yours is, which is fantastic. I update this map every year. I try to do it at the March and April time, right when the season's about to get started, because that's normally the off season has ended and any new teams coming in have been announced and are getting their spots on the new website at this point. And I noticed they just updated the new website. They have all the teams split out on their leagues. So that would have been nice to have when I was redoing this not too long ago. Awkward. But yeah, I update it every year. There are teams that fold. Unfortunately, since COVID, it's gotten a lot more worse. We're down, but we've had a bunch of new teams come back this year, which is great. And old teams resurfaced, which is awesome. We're at 275 teams at this point, which is still a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot of teams. What else do I got?
That's really cool. You
can
compose this whole thing all by yourself.
I'm glad you guys like it. It's fun to see where everyone is, isn't it?
Yes.
So 275 teams. There's 28 leagues currently, and then of course some independents. The big news this year is the Arrowhead West League isn't a thing anymore. That was a Class B league that split up because it was just there was teams in Moorhead and Duluth that had to play each other 2 times a year, and that's just how do you do that? So that split up. The Sobieski Skis, they've been Class C champions and dominant presence there for a while, and with the new point system, they had to move up a class to Class B, and they didn't like that because the Arrowhead West League was just so split apart. So they've petitioned back down, and those Moorhead teams now play in the Red River Amateur League, which has grown, which is crazy. They also have a team that's the only team out of state. The Sabin Mets are originally from Fargo, North Dakota, They crossed the border into Sabin, but the field's not ready yet, so they're still playing in Fargo this year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but they got a lot of teams now. The Duluth team, the Twin Port Timbers, they're just playing an independent schedule. There's a new Austin team. There's the Hamel Hawks in the Twin Cities metro area who are playing an independent schedule. And we had a whole bunch of new teams. The Northwest Border League has been sparse lately, but they now are up to 5 teams when they were down to 3 not too long ago. Oh, wait a minute. No, they have 6 teams. There's 2 teams in Bemidji. I forgot. Oh, yeah, we're really growing.
Black
out.
Sox and somebody else.
Love it. Woo! And then not only did I go and find all the teams in their ball fields, I also went and found, I have links to their web pages, links to their social medias. I got logos if I can find it. Most teams are pretty good about keeping their socials updated, so finding logos and stuff hasn't really been a problem at all, which is great. But there are still a lot of teams that don't. A good handful of teams just don't have any sort of logo. So I'm using like a picture of their hat,
Nice.
which is just so funny to me. And some teams that are old, I think the Fairmont Martins have been around for what feels like forever, and they haven't had a logo as long as I could
Really?
go back in time. It's such a weird
They-
thing, but they're a great team.
Yeah, they won state like 3 or 4 years ago, I think.
Mm-hmm. One of my favorite stories is actually, I think it's the St. Martin Martins. There's 2 teams named Martins,
Nice.
which is weird that it happened twice. But if I remember correctly, was it 3 years ago? I think the St. Martin Martins were in state and they got no hit twice in the state tournament, but won one of their
That's
games.
insane.
I know. You'd have to look that up. Don't quote me
crazy.
on that, but I'm pretty sure they won a no-hit game 1-0 because they hit a guy and stole a base and walked in the run.
How'd state go? Oh, we got no hit twice.
No big deal. Yeah.
Oh,
What a
my God.
crazy thing. Oh
Nice.
no.
That's good.
I love it. And I know I use Z maps for plotting this, but I actually went, I have 2 monitors, as you can see me going back and forth here. And I would have Z maps open on one monitor and then Google Maps on the other, because Google Street View is actually a real handy way if it goes through your town. If I can't find like the name of a ball field, normally Google Street View, I could get right up to the backstop and I could usually find a sign.
Mm-hmm.
So that super, super helps. Thank goodness.
Absolutely.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
during
Sorry,
this-
I've been talking for a while.
No, you're good. Trust me, you are good. This is what I love. Like, I kind of like I told you before, like anyone that comes on, like I don't like to have a schedule of how we do things. Like, let's just talk, let's just talk town ball, talk ball. So that's great. So don't apologize at all. You're good. You're good.
Yay, let's go. Sorry, I've been holding this in for a while. I'm just excited people want to know about this. It's so cool.
Absolutely.
I love it so much.
So what has been the most, in your opinion, difficult part of this whole tracking process? Is it just like the tediousness of it, of like you're kind of doing the same routine and it just takes a while? Obviously, you're never finished because you have the teams that fold, teams that come in. So you're never going to have like okay, yeah, I'm done. But for you, what has been the toughest part of all of that?
So starting the map, when I started the map, it was tedious because you're starting from scratch. So I have the old website open and I'm going alphabetical with the team names and figuring out who's in what league and setting I have to find the field and set the pin and find all the information to websites, social media links, and all that kind of jazz. But now, like doing it this year, my biggest concern is the new teams and where they play, because a lot of times like the new Rochester team, for an example, that's in my league and I play them, Rochester now has 3 teams, and the Class B team, the Royals, are obviously a much bigger organization than any Class C team is, and they're very well put together. They have their own website, they have updated logos and social medias, ticket prices, concessions, and all that jazz. And the Roadrunners have been around for a while as a Class C team, so they have a presence online. They keep their website updated, stats and whatnot. But the Barons are brand new and don't have any of that. So I don't have even a logo for them right now because they don't have one as far as I'm aware. I'm sure that will change with time. But then I have their home field right now at Hudson Field where the Roadrunners play, and then the Royals play over at what is that, Mayo Field. But the Barons kind of right now, since they're brand new, they just play wherever they can get a field because the Roadrunners will also use Hudson Field and generally have priority being the older team. And so for a lot of this, it's not guesswork, but sometimes like when Google Street View isn't available and I can't go through where the Midway Snowbirds are, wherever that field is, they don't have a map that shows me the name of the field or a landmark that I can go to because it just has 2 farmhouses. Yeah. So it's a lot of, oh, they're playing this city, so I need to find a field. And is that my best guess? And then I search and try to find, I'm going to search for Hadley and what's the name of this field that's in Hadley. I spent a lot of time on city websites for towns that are like 300 people searching baseball and trying to see what I can come up with. So to start with, it was very tedious to go one at a time to find all this stuff, but now it's just keeping up to date with news. I do appreciate the association for always having their documents and past board minutes updated so I can see the meetings, so I can see when new announcements get made. And when teams change names, normally their social medias are up to date. So I try to follow as many teams as I can on Twitter so I can see those. But the hardest part has probably been limiting myself, knowing that the project, like you said, never ends. I've limited myself to just updating this during April and March. I'll hop on and I'll see all the news and I'll go from there. And then by the time the season starts, I'm going to stop and we'll start it over next time. And if I forgot someone, they can let me know and I can update it then. But otherwise, because if I kept going, it would never end.
Right. Absolutely.
I'm curious because you're talking about, sorry, Lucas.
No,
you're talking about like home field and hard to find them. I was wondering, do you have the golden sombreros on this map?
The golden sombreros? No, I don't. Who are the golden sombreros? I figured that
because there's some weird teams too that like, we had a tournament a week ago, and they go by the name Golden Sombreros, and they don't even play home games. They're just a bunch of dudes from the cities who just kind of travel and play whoever. They're independent. I don't think they're even really part of the Minnesota. I'm not even 100% sure if they're part of the Minnesota Baseball or Amateur Association, but they play against similar teams, and I think they played us in our tournament, or we didn't play them, but they played Shoreview and they played somebody else in our tournament. So yeah, that's interesting. There's some teams out there that aren't even really hardly anybody even knows about. I don't know how we even found them.
I'm looking at a Facebook page. I found Golden Sombreros Baseball. Looks like they're blue and yellow.
Yep.
Oh, they haven't updated their Facebook since 2023, so that's not going to help us here. But
and I believe Mr. Townball Tuesdays himself is on the Golden Sombreros, or he was playing for them when he was in the tournament on last weekend.
What? I gotta say, I follow Townball Tuesdays because he goes to a lot of these stadiums and has pictures. He's helped me a lot in figuring out where things are, which is fantastic. So shout out to that guy.
Yep.
Dang. Well, I don't think they're part of the association at all, the Golden Sombreros, but it's not unheard of. I know at league meetings, you have to like ask for permission to play teams out of state usually, or it's like I'm notifying you that we're playing an exhibition game. Like you don't need permission to play games, but
they must not be a part of the association. I doubt they can make say anything. They must just be a group of guys get together and play games.
Well, good for them. We need more of that. It's all good. More innings, more games, more throws, more at bats.
Yep.
That's crazy. Good for him. Yep. That's awesome.
So I was wondering, you're talking about how you kind of limit yourself, March and April are like, I'm going hard in the paint now and we're updating all this. So during the season, typically you're not having a ton of, I guess, because you're right, a lot of stuff happens in the off season, but for things that do happen during the season, do you make like mental notes? Do you just keep tabs like, okay, when I get to March, April, I'm going to write this down and make sure I remember it. And you're not really doing too much of that. Is that kind of how that works for you?
It kind of depends. So for example, there was, with coming back from COVID, there's a lot more new teams this year who don't have logos. If it's as simple as somebody finally created a Twitter account and uploaded a logo, I can do that very easily and very quickly, because since now that I already have the map, I'm more familiar with the 5 or so new teams a year. So I'll remember when I see something, I can be like, oh, I can go download that real quick and upload it to the map. That's no problem. But for things like maybe a field needed maintenance and it had to close and they needed to move their home field for this season, I'm not going to bother with that, because they'll probably just go back to that field for next year. And what a waste of time. And, I'm not going to move a map for that. But yes, I do have a notebook of stuff that I will try to keep track of and write down, oh, these guys announced that they're going to change leagues, or they're going to fold, or they updated something or another. A lot of times, most of my updates are with the state tournament sites when they add new stuff, but the fields themselves don't really change, which is helpful. I've been trying to find a way that I could make state tournament sites stand out more on the map so people could see where they're going for this next year, but I'm not sure of a good way to do that at the moment. But yeah, like you said, I'll just make notes. If it's not easy and simple, I'll save it till I do it the next time. The big thing that I did was the Fargo Mets. We talked about them earlier. When they moved to Sabin, I had to, not that I had to, but I quickly updated their logo to be, oh, hey, they're in Minnesota now. They're over on this side of the river. And they even liked my tweet, which I appreciated when I announced that. So that was pretty nice of them.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I think that's great. That I think there could be probably a lot of not put in time effort with it. Like, if for somebody that wanted to do this, and the fact that you have like, no, I'm going to make this the absolute best thing it can be. And it shows. I mean, that is some great stuff that you've done. So hats off to you.
Oh, thanks, man. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
I hope it gets used. I hope the association finds it. I hope they are cool with it. Maybe they put it on their website. I mean, I think it's just a nice way every team can find each other. Every year there's always teams where it's like, we're hosting a tournament, but we need another team. You could look one up here anywhere nearby. Might be helpful.
Yeah, I agree. So now before we
I'll
start
watch state tournament, and I never know where anybody's from, and I'm always just curious. I'm like, where's this little tiny town with 200 people in it?
Right. It is. Sometimes it's surprising when you see how far a team has come and you go, wow, you guys are, dang, okay, let's go.
So before we started to get recording, you had some fun facts, some things that maybe the average Joe wouldn't know when it came to Townball, Zach. So by all means, this is Zach's fun facts segment.
My fun facts segment.
What do we have for us?
Well, I have, as you can imagine, Minnesota is the land of 10,000 lakes. You want to take a guess as to how many teams are aquatic themed?
Out of 275 teams, correct?
Yes. I'll give you a hint. It is not over 50. Right. It's under 50.
I'm going to say
42.
42. Oh, you're kidding. 42.
I went with Jackie Robinson. We're talking baseball. So
42, the answer to life. Jackie Robinson in life. I love it. There's 11 teams in the league who are called the Lakers.
Really?
As you can imagine. Surprising to me, there's 5 teams called the Pirates.
Sure. I know one.
Yeah, Blue Earth, yeah.
Blue Earth Pirates, Wyndham Pirates, Painesville Pirates, I think, are another one.
Ooh,
there's 2 teams called the Mallards, 3 teams called the Mudcats, and 3 teams called the Muskies.
Yes, yeah.
What do we got? So we got Anglers, Lakers, Bullfrogs, Pirates, Snappers, Logators, River Cats, Drakes.
Oh, the Legators.
Yeah.
Yes, the Champlin Park Legators.
Loons, Islanders, Beavers, Horned Frogs, Mallards, Mudcats, River Rats, Muskies, Gators, River Dogs, Rum River Bandits, I put, because they play in Cambridge, Minnesota, but they go by the local river, Rum River. Wood Ducks, Sharks, Swans, and then there's the Westonka Waves. They're a new team from last year. They got a sweet logo.
Yeah, we played them.
Oh, you did? Nice.
They were also in this tournament we're talking about last year.
Nice.
Or 2 years ago, maybe. I can't remember.
I think they were new. Were they new in 2023? It was 2023 or 2022, one of the years. I know they just got into a league.
Because I know we played them. I think it was 2022.
That sounds right. I think they played an independent schedule 2022, and then last year they were able to join a league. There we go. I love it.
How many teams?
I also have I believe. Oh, go ahead. What?
Sorry, no. I was going to say, how many teams are A's for our
A's? For sure, too. Arlington and Ada.
There's a lot. So if you're ever on the map and you have it open on the very right side, normally where like the scroll bar is, there's a little set of 2 arrows that you can click to bring out a sidebar, and that will have all of the teams listed in alphabetical order for you.
Nice.
Not it'll be by city name first and then the team name, but the very first one, the Ada Athletics. There you go.
Yep. Ada A's.
There's actually I don't have an exact number, but I can tell you it seems very split between the teams calling themselves Athletics or A's, whichever one they like to go by. I'm sure they both mean the same, but a lot of teams are very set on we're the A's, not the Athletics, which I thought was just a weird little fun thing.
Yeah, I've never heard anybody say the Arlington Athletics. We're definitely just the A's.
Weird, huh? I love it. I have some other fun facts. There's under 10 teams. I think it's about 4 or 5. There's a handful of teams in the Twin Cities metro area that are, I'm going to call them like business teams.
Oh, yeah.
So like Air Freight Unlimited and like, I think it's the Lions Pub Warriors or something.
Played them
like
as
that.
well.
Yeah, all right. And then there's like Plymouth Hit Dog and a whole Max Strength Grizzlies. And I don't really, those teams were a little difficult. Baseball 365 is another one. It's just a memorabilia store, which I think is cool. But like, I don't really have a home field for those guys.
There used to be a team called St. Cloud Orthopedic. They won state one time.
Did they really? No
when
way.
Arlington hosted. Yeah.
Wow. That's because the 2 teams, is it Sartell has 2 teams and they play at St. Cloud Orthopedics Field.
Yes.
That's so funny to me. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Let's see. Other fun facts. There are 2 teams or 2 fields in the whole state that are named after women, which I thought was pretty neat. There's Tony Stone Field, which she's like the first, I think, black player in the Negro Leagues, if I'm correct.
Okay.
And I believe now that Major League Baseball has made the Negro Leagues officially major leagues, I think that makes her the first woman in MLB technically.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. But she has her own field at the Dunning Sports Complex, which I believe is right next to, Concordia University, St. Paul. Okay. And a whole bunch of teams play there. Almost the entirety of the St. Paul League play at Tony Stone Field, which I think is pretty neat. And then the other one is actually the Hadley Buttermakers, who play at Lori Mahone Memorial Field. She's very hard to find any information on, but she died at a young age, and they named the field right after her. Let me see if I can find it on the map. They got the coolest logo I've ever seen too. Ooh. There they are. They play all the way down here. What league is this? Oh my gosh, I gotta find this. The Gopher League, and their logo is just like, the churning butter and yep. And then so they have the barrel shape, but then it's shadowed out with an H in the middle.
Nice.
It's really cool. They're such a cool place to play. Oh, I love it. Let's keep going with the fun facts. I have here a list of unique names for you because, boy, this is going to get wild. You ready for this?
Yes.
The Benson Plowboys.
The Benson what?
The Benson Plowboys.
Plowboys.
Plowboys. Their logo is a dude. You know, before we had tractors, you'd have an ox, and then you had it was almost like a wheelbarrow, but with the metal thing on the bottom.
Yeah.
That's you're plowing the field. That's what their logo is.
That's great.
Amazing. You guys might be familiar with this one, the Buckman Billy Goats.
Yep.
Now I like
They
those.
play
Guys
on a
are
field
competitive
with no
every
grass
year.
infield. It's all dirt.
Yes, it is. Oh, I love the Google Street View went by them earlier this year in 2024, and it looks so not out of place, but you go, what is that? Whoa, that's so cool.
They're a very good team.
Yep. We mentioned them earlier, the Champlain Park Low Gators. That's a pretty unique name. We already mentioned the Loretto Larks because Corey Koski's on there. The Detroit Lake Ligers. Ligers. So Detroit Lakes was new 2 or 3 years ago now, and they went by the Detroit Lakes Baseball Club in honor of the Washington football team or whatever. And so they announced, God, has it been 2 years now that they had a contest and they got a new logo and came up with Detroit Lake Ligers. They're unique, though, in that they are the only team that I can tell that has an active mascot. They actually have a guy in a costume as a Liger at their games.
Nice. Awesome.
I know. Townball's so weird. Let's see. We had the St. Martin Martins, the Fairmont Martins. There's the St. Augusta Augies. There's the St. Stephen Steves. There's the St. Mike, all the Saint whatever Saints and Saint whatever who then decide to subvert our expectations by being the Saint whatever Devils, which is my favorite thing. There's the new team this year. I believe it's pronounced Foston, the Foston Trash Pandas.
Trash Pandas?
Trash Pandas.
Oh my goodness.
Yep. We talked about the Hadley Buttermakers. There's the Granite Falls Kilowatts, which I thought was cool because there's not too many teams that go with electrical themage. I believe it's pronounced the Cologne Hollanders.
Cologne Hollanders.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I like
only
their
about
logo because it's almost
30 minutes from Arlington.
Yeah. I love it. This one's my favorite. There are 2 teams in the Minnesota Baseball Association whose nicknames are the Orphans.
Howard Lake.
Yep.
I don't know the other one.
Hancock.
And
they're actually relatively close by to each other, which I think is absolutely wild.
Yeah, Orphans. That's quite a name.
Even better is the Howard Lake Orphans like to call they play at Memorial Field, but they like to call it the orphanage at Memorial Field.
Nice. Well, speaking of that, do you have a list of how many fields are named Memorial Field? Because I swear I played on like 5 of them at least.
You know, I don't, but I can tell you it is by far a majority of the 275 teams play at some form of American Legion, Memorial Field, War Memorial, whatever. My favorite is like the St. Bonnie Saints play at a place called Missile Park.
Nice.
Yeah, it's because they have like a World War II memorial and an old missile set up on a playground, and then their ball field's right next to it.
I've driven by that ball field. I never played there, but I've driven by it. Yeah.
It looks really nice. I want to go there. It seems so cool.
Yeah.
So I don't have an exact number for you, but I could probably get it for you if you want.
Yeah, I'm curious. I bet it's a lot.
It is a lot. Oh man. Let's see. We got Lakefield Horned Frogs, which I thought was pretty unique. There's Bullfrogs, which I also thought was pretty unique. A new team from like 2022, the Wabasso Jacks, because it's jackrabbits. They play on like a prairie thing, and they all have a bunch of rabbits.
Yeah.
Oh, the Meyer Blazers. The Meyer Blazers I have on here because their logo is, if I remember their tweet correctly, it's like a llama or alpaca, and you can use their fur to make the Blazer jacket.
Interesting.
I know the weird things you find on Townball Twitter. We mentioned them earlier, the Midway Snowbirds, who play in the middle of nowhere but have the coolest logo I've ever seen. It's such a cool thing. What's a snowbird even? I have no idea.
No idea.
No idea.
I don't think they even know.
The Monticello Polecats.
Polecats.
Polecats. If I had to guess, their logo makes it look like a skunk, but I got no clue.
Huh.
Not any idea. There's actually a handful of teams. There's like 3 or 4 teams that are named after gorillas. New Munich Silver Streaks. It's like a silverback gorilla is one of them. I like that one. Nimrod Gnats.
The Nimrod Gnats.
Nimrod Gnats. The North End Biscuits.
Love it.
Nice.
I love those. The North St. Paul Snowmen.
Oh,
Snowmen.
Snowmen. We talked about the Sabin Mets. They moved from Fargo. You mentioned Shoreview Stump Grinders. Those guys were a new team a few years ago.
Yeah, we
Great
played
name.
them 2 weeks ago.
I love it. And I have to mention this last one, the Winston Wildcats. I have them on here because they were the first Townball team to get Twitter in 2009.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Kudos to them.
Good job, Winston.
Yeah. Crazy times. And that's my list of fun facts.
Do you run the Winona Twitter page?
I do, yes. I do indeed. I run our email, our Twitter, our Facebook. I like to pretend I know what I'm doing. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
No, that's awesome. I've definitely found my Twitter timeline. Well, I mean, really kind of like this year since we've been doing like the Townball episodes, the algorithm is just like all Townball stuff. And then I look and like, a team will post something and I'm like, I don't think I follow them. And I'm like, nope, I don't. But like my algorithm is just showing me all these Townball updates and it's great. It's amazing. And I got to follow them.
That
every
is,
time they come
that
up.
is
That's
my
literally
Twitter.
the only reason why I even have Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. So talk to me a little bit about your team, about Winona. You obviously mentioned sometimes, you're getting kind of just enough players to play, but what's your core look like? Do you guys younger, older, a little bit kind of mix of everything, or what does it kind of look like for you guys?
It kind of depends. This year we're much more younger than we usually are. I'm 30 years old and I'm on the upside of the age bracket. Our manager Lee Trzynski is 39, I think, over there. But most of our guys are 20 to 25. A lot of our core is typically guys that are just finishing high school but haven't left for college. I imagine that's a lot for some other guys. Winona, though, has the benefit of we have Winona State University, we have Southeast Tech, and then we also have St. Mary's University, a private 4-year college. And sometimes, like me, who move from Rosemount and come to college and then stay there, we sometimes get guys that stick around that happen to have played D2 or MAC college baseball.
Yep.
So we actually have 4 or 5 guys that played at St. Mary's. We got a guy who's actually at Winona State right now, who's a pitcher for him. And I played club level, which isn't anything, but even Lee used to play for the Warriors back in the day, Winona State. So sometimes we have a good amount of guys and sometimes you don't. Winona is unfortunately not really near anything. So when guys get a job, like one of our St. Mary's guys coaches at one of the Rochester high schools, and that's an hour away. So coming for a Wednesday night game could be a little hard.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I could believe that. We luckily for Arlington, we've got a pretty solid group of kids, that we can kind of get out from high school if they want to come, but just a really solid core overall. It's been great to see people coming out and playing. So that's been fun. That's been a lot of fun. So what for you, Zach?
It makes Townball way more.
Yeah, absolutely.
It makes Townball way more interested. It's so much better when guys come consistently and then their parents come to watch and friends come to watch. It really changes the atmosphere. It's really nice.
So when was your kind of because I've talked about it in the past too, being from Colorado, not really knowing like what Townball was when I got out here. So when was your kind of like, hey, like this is what Townball is? Like this is like just the feeling and the pride of like the people coming to watch and like they may not have anything going on during the summer, but that like this is just what they do, and this is like huge for them. If that kind of makes sense, like when was your like, yeah, I get what this is kind of thing now.
The association had a movie that released on Amazon Prime. And that, God, when did that come out? I'm going to look this up real quick because I have Amazon Prime, which is awesome service. Let me see if I could get over there. I should have it saved in my library on my stuff all. What do I got in here? Oh, there it is. Townball came out in 2019. There we go. Love it. I highly recommend it. I believe it's free. Nope, it's not free anymore. Sorry. But they released this, and this is what, since I didn't, this was, I'm not going to say it inspired my map, but this goes into detail in different cities. And when you realize that every city operates a little bit differently in terms of the core of guys, the team, how they travel, how the ball field is maintained. Like I like to go to Milroy. The Milroy Irish have such an incredible field that's maintained by themselves, which I think is just absolutely wild. But I think this movie or this series or whatever you want to call it really got me interested in butchers, bakers, candlestick makers, we all come after our job to come play, and we have a beer in the parking lot after the game. We'll go get Pizza Hut buffet after a big win, just like the old days. And it's seen traditions. I know Meesville has their Jack Ruhr field is just an incredible place to be, and the kids get to run on the field after the game. The Twin Rivers League, where the Chiefs play, we're not quite in the same boat as I would say central Minnesota is in terms of baseball richness. We're getting there. The association awarded Cannon Falls Red Wing and Meesville, I think, the state tournament in 2026. So we're working on building that up. Winona, part of the reason that we went out to get sponsorships this year for like the first time in over a decade was to help us get not just money to afford umpires and baseballs, but to start making changes to our appearance and who we are and maintain the field and work with the city to make upgrades so we can build that sort of town ball atmosphere for not just us, but for the next generation of kids. When that started for me would be after watching this in 2019 and realizing I could make a map of all of these teams. So COVID really helped me open my eyes a little bit, which I thought was fantastic. But in terms of like an experience that happened that helped me realize what town ball is, I would say the first time I was on a team, this would have been 2019. We had a player named Ben Glomsky who no longer plays for us, but he hit a walk-off home run. And that was the first time you realize you're out of the dugout screaming your lungs off. This is a moment of summer that I'm here for. And that really, I think, got me hooked.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, nice. that like addiction, that addiction with it all. Yeah, that's awesome.
I hope to keep doing this. I know I'm 30, but I'm going to see how long I can keep playing because those moments are fantastic.
Yeah.
It changes your whole summer, your whole outlook. It's so much fun. And especially playing with younger guys, just the energy that they have. And then now my role is more of a gentle, hey, let's keep that attitude in check. Let's work on these fundamentals. I notice your elbows dropping a little, and you can give them some sort of insight. Not to mention scouting isn't really a thing in town ball, right. But when you're in the Twin Rivers League and hey, I've been playing since 2018. I know this guy has pitched to me every year. I know a few things. And it's just so much fun to nudge a guy who's going up to the plate and say, hey, that slider breaks late. Keep an eye out. And it's so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, I've been really getting into it a lot the last couple. This is my 4th year being on the Arlington A since I've been out here, but last couple years I've really started to understand it. And I don't for me, like this last Friday, a couple days ago, we played against our rivals, the Gaylord Islanders, and
Yeah.
I had never played in a game against Gaylord. Like I've always, watched on the bench and everything, which is fine. Like I did not deserve to go in and play any of those games by any means. Um, so this is my first time pitching in it, and like, we were on the road, but like, a lot of Gaylord fans are there. It's their home park, but a bunch of Arlington fans came, and like, man, it was just like so electric. And we were joking, the Dorton and Doetkott debate podcast was the pitching, duo for the game. I went the first 6 innings, and then Nick pitched the last 3 of the game and closed it out. And boy, I don't know, when we got to that 9th inning, it was just like pins and needles. Like, bases were loaded for them. They had the tying run at second,
tell me about
2
it.
outs, full count, and Nick got the strikeout to win the game for us. And just the eruption that happened from the dugout, from our fans, from the our guys on the field, was just like, holy cow! Like this feels like it's game 7 of the World Series, and everyone's gonna wake up tomorrow and go to their 9 to 5 job. Like, this is unbelievable. Just was unbelievable.
Yeah, I always say the first Gaylord game of the year is my favorite night of the year.
Yeah.
I stand by that.
I know exactly what you guys, we just had that on Friday. I mentioned at the start, I had to catch 12 innings of baseball, and it went into extras. And when the guy gets the hit that walks it off, or the strikeout to end the rivalry, it's nuts, because all the fans, they've been there that whole time. They're right next to your bench. They can hear you. They can feel what you're feeling. And you're right, the tension builds up, and it's just, this is your summer moment right here. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's so cool. It definitely rejuvenated. I mean, baseball has always been my number one for sure, and Nick as well too. I know I'm speaking for him with that, but like, since I've been part of Townball, like, they don't have anything like this in Colorado, like nothing. They have like your Sunday, 50 plus men's league, where it's like, okay, I mean, that's all right. But then coming here, it's like, it's just such a culture and such an amazing atmosphere. And like, I'm very grateful and blessed to have been a part of it. And like, being relatively younger, mid-20s, like, I hope I can keep doing this for the next 20 years of my life. If baseball lets me do that. But that would be great. It's just is so amazing. So next question for you, as we were kind of just reminiscing there a little bit. If you were to talk to someone who maybe has no idea what Townball is from a different state, and people mention Townball, how would you describe Townball to get them hooked? Like what would be your your elevator pitch to get someone into Townball?
An elevator pitch.
And I'll give you more than like
who's the
seconds.
I guess history. Townball has history. The Winona Chiefs have been around forever. It feels like the way that we are now. We've been in a Townball league since 1951. We've played at the same park since 1951. Most teams, you can go back to black and white photos and beyond the 1900s into the 1800s. I know the legendary coach of the Minnesota Vikings. What's his name? Bud
Grant.
Yeah, Bud Grant. He has a famous quote of, "I made more money playing Townball than I did playing football," or whatever that was. Because at the time, you had to pay players to come. Before the Twins were here, there was no professional ball. There was minor leagues, travel leagues. Winona is a famous Polish town. We had a team called the Polish National Alliance that played games at Gabrick Park back in the day. To get someone hooked on an elevator pitch is, come experience the history. Come to a place that people have been going to for decades. Come see memorabilia. Come see guys whose grandfathers played here 55 plus years ago. You can come and experience modern excitement with ancient history, it feels like, and you can feel how important it is to all of these other guys. It's you gotta experience, you gotta go, you gotta experience it. You can buy a hot dog, buy a beer, sit and relax and enjoy those crazy moments. Because if you want to know what it is, just look at the faces of the guys when you strike out that last guy, when a walk-off goes over the fence and everyone explodes. That's what Townball is. Just guys having fun, doing their thing, experience what it's like. Love it.
That's good. Yeah, one of the things that you mentioned that was kind of cool, and I know Nick's talked about it a little bit because his family has, kind of that exact reason why he plays for Arlington is like, yeah, like you would pay people to come play for your team or like, other reasons. But Nick, like, because your grandpa, right, was offered a job at like the lumber mill or something to come play.
They basically they basically offered him a job at the lumberyard. Yeah, and
yeah, awesome.
I don't know if that's 100% like why we live in Arlington, but basically from what I've been told is like, yeah, they said, hey, there's a job for you at the lumberyard open, and then played for the A's.
So Townball rules have obviously changed a lot since before the Twins were here. So you used to be able, like, eventually to get players on your team, you would have to offer them contracts and pay them, but things eventually got so out of hand that new rules were put in place. It's an amateur league. You can't pay guys anymore. But people would circumvent those rules by, I'll give you a job in this city and now you live here. So now you can play on this team. It's not unheard of, especially like the barnstorming days way back then. It was a lot of, you can work for this guy who owns the team. So now you get to be on the team, and that's how you get around some rules. Things have changed more modernly. We have the new class system that's coming up. And so I know recently when we got rid of the Class A and Class B and combined them, part of that was because of the confusion of who can play in Class A, because you had to be like living in that 494, 694 freeway loop or something, and figuring out addresses that work there just became way too much, that it was much more simple just to do this. So now we tend to have class systems with slightly different rules based on size. Class B teams don't have to recruit guys specifically from their town, if that makes sense. Class C teams still have that rule where like you got to live within 35 miles of home plate or something.
35 miles radius. How the crow flies.
How the crow flies. I think even on the new website, I think they still have here's a map radius ratio that you can superimpose over Google Maps to see.
It's actually funny. So we play for Arlington, but we live in Mankato. Now I'm good because I'm from Arlington. That's the first team I played for. But Lucas, he's not from Arlington, nor did he play for Arlington. So I had to see if he was even eligible. Lucas, how much was it? Like 34.2 miles or something like that we are? You just barely fit?
Right. If we were like 0.5 miles, just like a little bit further away, I would not be able to play for Arlington. Like it is literally as close as you can get.
That's absolutely. I'm looking at the map right now. Mankato is a pretty big distance from Arlington. That's quite a trip. I got to be honest with you. That's wild.
Yeah. Our home.
That's awesome. I love
40 minutes away, and then our home games when we like play like the St. Clair Wood Ducks or like St. Peter. It's like it's like 20 minutes. So that's like a home game for us. I love the hometown rule because that lets you still play for the team that you were on. I think that's awesome. I love seeing all the minutes in the NBA when it's like, hey, I'm looking to play with the heritage rule because my grandpappy played, 60 years ago on this team or something. That's the uniqueness of Townball, right? Especially if guys like you are even willing to travel. I think that makes it a stronger case to play. I don't see why not. I love it. I need to go to one of those meetings. I really want to be there. Yeah, just to fly on the wall.
That'd be so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, fly. I mean, I wish they would I wish they put it over Zoom just so I can hear. That'd be so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool. That's awesome, Zach. So what are some other things? I'm kind of running out of questions on my side of things. What are some things that maybe you also wanted to bring up with Townball, Winona? Anything that you feel like you want to plug out there or whatever?
Well, if you want to follow me on Twitter, you certainly can at the only Zaboy, Zaboy, absolutely. But otherwise, in terms of map stuff, I think we pretty well covered just about everything we wanted to talk about. Winona, I mean, we play at Gabrick Park. It used to be a really big crown jewel. It's not so much anymore. It had giant wooden bleachers that they had to tear down in like the 70s because you realize how much of a fire hazard that is. And it's very much a shell of its former self, but we've been playing there forever. The city generally takes pretty good care of it, grass and dirt wise. It's just kind of in need of repair, I guess would be the way to put it. I know that the Baseball Association has a bunch of partnerships with, what is it, Dura Edge, and like they have their own wood bat, they have their own field stuff. There was a guy on Twitter going around about mound repair. I might have to look that guy up so I can see if you could come take a look at our mound.
Oh, I think we've used him,
Yeah, I'll have to look that up. So in terms of plugging anything, I mean, just looking up teams from the Townball website will get you on their Twitter, Facebooks, other social medias. You'll start finding D&J Glove Repair. You'll find Townball Tuesdays. You'll find the Townball schedule guy who, I don't know how he does this, but he looks for results of games and posts them every week so you can keep up to date with all the different leagues. I think that's wonderful. And even just the Baseball Association website themselves, they post everything you might need to know in their NBA info section over here. And you can look up the criteria for next year when we start doing reclassifications. And I'm assuming realignment will come with that. We might see a lot of shakeups. We don't know. They're still working on updating this website. The league standings page isn't quite there, but if you check it often enough, I'm sure it'll eventually be there, would be my guess. Let me see. When's the next NBA meeting? I got to check the calendar. Where was that? Sometimes things don't load for me on this computer, especially since we're live on Zoom right now. So I'll have to look that up later. But I know they like to meet in the St. Cloud area, and that's just so far away from Winona. I can't justify that trip, unfortunately.
Hey, did you think of that Cubs player yet?
What's that?
Did you think of that Cubs player yet?
Cubs? Oh no, I haven't. Oh my, I might have to boot up I have MLB The Show 23, and I might have to boot that up. God, he played for them forever.
I just had to.
No, I'm glad you brought it up because I'm sure if I go back in time on Baseball Reference, I can find they actually might just have Hall of Famers on here. Ernie Banks. There he is, number 14, yeah. Ernie Banks. Two-time Hall of Famer, or one-time Hall of Famer, two-time MVP. God, this guy played forever. He played 19
I have an Ernie Banks autograph, actually.
Do you really? No way.
Yes.
I love Ernie Banks because he's in the game twice as a legend. Sometimes in MLB The Show, they'll have players in two different times to represent different eras. Like Babe Ruth's in the game twice. He's in as a pitcher from when he was with the Red Sox, and then he's in there later as a Yankee when he was just like an outfielder guy, which I think is cool. Ernie Banks is unique because he has several different eras, but for whatever reason, he's in the game as like a 26-year-old and a 27-year-old, which is very close together, which I thought was weird. But if you look at his Baseball Reference, there's a lot of bold in those time frames. So that makes sense to me, I guess.
Yeah, he was good.
Oh, he won back-to-back MVPs. That might be why. 1958, 1959. Crazy. Oh, and that's when they had 2 All-Star games. He was a 2-time All-Star that year.
They had 2 All-Star games?
Yeah, they used to have like a halfway point and like an end of year point, I think, if I remember correctly.
Oh.
Yeah, they dropped it pretty quickly. It hasn't been All-Star game baseball. I don't know if I can find that very quickly, but I know they used to, plus like wartime, they had to cancel some and all that jazz. Major League Baseball All-Star game, the Midsummer Classic. Let me see if I could find this really quick. Yeah, 1945 and 2020, it was canceled. Let's see, 2 All-Star games were held each season from 1959 to 1962. So it wasn't even that long. It was a couple years. Yeah. I wonder why they did that. I'll have to see if I can find that. I'll DM you that later. We'll see if
I never knew about it.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Hi, kitty. Sorry, my cat finally decided to make an appearance.
Oh, yes. We're a big fan of pets on the podcast. We've had some dogs join us. Hello.
Yeah.
Who do we have with us today?
Aw, kitty. This is Sonny Lambert. We got him from the Winona Humane Society. He's a little big right now. He's about 2 pounds overweight, so we've started trying to exercise with him more.
Nice.
But this house that we recently moved into comes with a bay window that faces the sun, so he likes to take
Oh,
naps.
nice. Sonny likes the
Good
sun.
boy. Yes, he does. Hey, ow. There you go, buddy. Awesome. There we go.
Good. Oh,
Wanna
that's
sit?
sweet. That's sweet.
Come here, buddy. There you go. Good boy.
Made his way around.
Love it.
The Godfather. That's good. That's
He
good.
wanted to make sure he got a little time on the podcast.
That's right.
Felt left
That's
out.
right. That's right. That's
Good
awesome.
boy. Just wake up from a nap. Good boy.
Well, thank you, Zach, for,
Yeah.
for coming on and chatting some Townball and everything. It's been a great time. It's been a great time.
I'm glad I had a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on here, you guys. This was fantastic.
Yes, certainly would love to have you back in the future. That would be great. That would be great. So we'll be reaching out again. The Twitter DMs are always open. Yeah, absolutely.
You got it, my guy. I'll make myself available. No problem at all. This was fun.
Yes, absolutely. Well, folks, if you would like to follow Zach, I will put his Twitter handle in the comments section below, so you can follow him on that. You can follow myself and Nick at Lucas_Dorton, at Doetkott, and the podcast at DND_podcast. So be sure to follow all of those things. And one other thing I did want to plug before we got off today. Hopefully you folks are still listening at this point. We're certainly appreciative if you are. On our Twitter page, I'm going to pin this to the top of the Twitter page, but recently a member of the baseball community passed away about a weekend ago. A member of the Waterville Indians, Shane Sellner, passed away. He was really young, only about 28 years old. Had a wife of a couple of years, a son a little over 1 year old, and his wife actually just gave birth to, I believe, yesterday to their second son too. So very, very tragic and very unfortunate situation. But where there is negative, there is positive that can come with it. And there is a GoFundMe page that was made for the family, and it's unbelievable. There's been almost about $100,000 raised for the family for that as well too, folks. So as sad as a situation that is, and it is very sad, I think it's amazing to see all the people come together and help out the family as much as they can with that. So I'll be sure to pin that, folks, and then please, if you can. I never knew Shane. I never talked to him. I never had a conversation with him at all. But some guys I went to college with play on the Waterville Indians with him. And so they're definitely, it's a tough situation. But so please, if you can, I'm sure donate anything, and that would be fantastic. That would be fantastic. But anyways, folks, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Dorton and Doetkott Debate Podcast with Zach Zaboj, Nicholas Doetkott, and myself, folks. Until next time, we are out.